Hey friends, welcome back to another day in the studio. My name is Ekaterina Orlovie. I'm an artist and muralist. Today I'll be working on the doors opening. It's so weird. Okay, sorry about that. The studio is haunted. No, it's not. It's not. Today in the studio, I'm going to be getting organized, swatching some paints, and doing little studies, getting ready for a project. I have 90% decided that I want to do the 100 Days project, which is, so it's different for everybody, but it started as an art assignment in school. And now it lives online and people participate. Everyone starts. So the project starts, I think it's going to start in the middle of February. There's an Instagram that kind of tracks, all the days, and I think gives you daily prompts. So I'll put that in the description if you're interested to see what that's about. But your 100-day project could be about anything. So mine, I think, will be about daily practice. I got a new sketchbook and a new watercolor sketchbook, and I'll be working in that. And yeah, I'm really excited. And I also picked up some new art supplies in order to motivate myself, but also to try them out. So I got them from the art department, and that is a local art store that we have here in Idlewild. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. But these are the beam paints that I got. And I'll swatch these later so we can see what they look like. I've already used their little I've already used these little ones, and they're so cute. I can't. They're amazing paints. They're light fast, which means they're going to last a long time. So I'm really excited to use those. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, so in the last video, I kind of talked about the soap that I use to clean my brushes. So that's the Tripel coconut oil soap. So this I use to kind of treat my brushes at the end of a project. I should also be using it in between probably, but I kind of just use Dawn soap. I use synthetic brushes, so they do need a little extra care, I find, just to keep the bristles nice and soft. So I like to use this. And then if your brushes get a lot of use, I also got this. It's the Brush Restore. It kind of just makes them retain their stiff point again. I also got some Daniel Smith watercolors. And I'm really excited to try these out. I know that I can mix these, obviously, but I fell in love with the moon. Not the moon. I fell in love with, I think it's called Moon Glow, which is a Daniel Smith color. And so I wanted to try other adjacent colors. It's the rain. It's making me really sleepy. But yeah, so whatever you're working on, I hope you join me. And if you're doing the 100-day project or something like that, please let me know. I'd love to see what you're up to or what your project is going to be. Like I said, it's starting in the middle of February, or maybe I didn't say that, but I'm saying it now. So it's starting in the middle of February. So there's still time to get ready if that is something that you're interested in. I don't even know if I could do all of 100 days. That, when you think about it, it's that's a long time. That's longer than Peachtober or Inktober. But I think I've noticed that daily sketchbook practice it makes my art better. So I'm looking forward to challenging myself and seeing if I could do it. So I'm really excited. But yeah, let me know what you're working on, and let's go ahead and get started.
This is going to be a watercolor study, and I have a sketch done already. This was from a couple of references, and I put them together. It was a wildflowers bouquet, and then I added the design on the soda can that I've been drawing, sort of this raindrop pattern, and added a bow because, like everyone, I'm obsessed with ribbons right now. So first, I'm starting with Wild Rose or Guineabe, and this is classified as gouache on the beam paint site, adding a little bit of water to activate it. It's got a milky consistency because gouache is just opaque watercolor. It's kind of like watercolor's cousin. It will be less transparent, but it's still going to behave a lot like watercolor. These paints also have names which come from the Anishinaabe indigenous people of the subarctic and the northeastern woodlands. They're based in Canada and were made by artist Anong Beam, who comes from a whole family of artists and, like I mentioned, is an artist themselves. Beam paints are handmade, which I think makes these paints super special. So next is another gouache watercolor in lilac. It is absolutely gorgeous, and you can see it's so pigmented. And again, that lovely milky texture. I love this color so much. When I was choosing the colors, I tried to think about values too. So I bought a light mid-tone and a dark tone. The last one is Gachi Waskanens or Violet. So you can see the difference a little bit more between how the opaque watercolor and this one act. And that's probably because of the pigment. I don't exactly know how beam paints are made, obviously, but gouache usually has larger particles of pigment, and it could also be the binder. Watercolor will have that telltale bloom, and you can see how the pigment is spreading in the water. How much pigment and how much binder are in the paints are going to change how the paint acts. Then we have Daniel Smith, the lavender shade. I haven't tried all of the different watercolor brands out there, and I know that Daniel Smith is a favorite of many when it comes to professional watercolors. For example, I use a lot of their opera pink in my watercolor layers. It's not the most light fast color, but it's one of my favorites. I have also used Sennelier watercolors. I think they're all in the similar price range if you're looking at professional grade. I'm still learning about properties of watercolor, but I think it's so important to try out different paints just to see what works best for you and the way that you paint. I usually organize my paint in a larger swatch like this. I paint on mostly cold press watercolor paper. This is Arches 140 pound, but I use 300 pound for my final pieces. I try the paints out on the same paper. Obviously, the more water I add, the lighter the value. I do think it's important to try out studies like this. It not only helps you figure out how your final artwork will look like, but you can try out different colors. Basically, it's a chance to experiment. I think that's why I want to do the 100 Days project. I've been painting a lot of flowers, of course, today is no different. And in my work, flowers are a kind of metaphor for emotions or even people sometimes. So you'll see in this one how all the flowers overlap. And it's because, yes, the subject is flowers, but I'm really trying to communicate delicate, overlapping, and overwhelming emotions. And I'd really like to go beyond that and try out different subjects. I think that daily practice also helps with creating a cohesive body of work because you'll start noticing what you're really interested in. I have a background in graphic work and illustration, and I'm a working muralist. So I think it's really hard to create work that it's not automatically for sale, that's just exploring something, but it's so important to challenge and push ourselves. So I think for me, my 100 Days project is going to be a daily practice, whether that's in my sketchbook and my watercolor book, or even digital, just something done daily. So these are all things I'm thinking about as I get ready. If you want to join me, let me know what you think your 100 Days project will be, or if you've done one before, if you have any tips. The 100 Days project is starting on February 18th. It's been announced. You can go to their Instagram to find out more information, or like I said, I'll put the link in the description so you can find out more information. But I'll leave you here. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. If you want to follow my journey, you can subscribe here on YouTube or follow me on Instagram @Orlovie. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.